Hey, so it seems that you guys seem to like my last video where I just showed some like mage gameplay and my thoughts on mage. So I just thought I would do the same thing again, but just go a little bit more in depth. I found these sims online from Toegrinder. So he makes his website. He also has like a YouTube channel of his own, and I'm just gonna show you like the sims of all the different mage specs now, and I'm going to show you the top simming uh, build, I guess, in AoE, and like because it's probably what you'll be playing in M plus, and kind of how it plays with Meteor, and then just like go through some of the sims of the other specs. So I'll just start by going through all the other through the sims and the specs first. So basically, as you can see, this is fire. Um, It sims approximately 364,000 on 5 target AoE, which is quite good. And in case you're wondering, this is actually a buff from the 5 target now. So I just simmed my own character here. So I've got like pretty high mastery, as you can see. And it's doing about, what's that, 30k more? Uh, so 10% more damage to AoE buff just from the rework, and then obviously you don't have to play around Rune of Power anymore, which is really, really nice. And before I said I don't think your single target would be that good, but if you look at it here, it sims 127k in this build, which is more than your character, well, more than my character sims now on single target in the master gear I have. So it looks like overall it's a nice buff for fire in single target and AoE. And I just want to show Frost. So Frost was originally looking like the strongest spec, and as you can see, at least if these sims are correct, and I'm gonna assume they are, um, you can see Frost is simming like almost 60,000 less than Fire at 5 targets. So it doesn't look like Frost will be the play in M plus, to be honest. I mean, this is non-freezable mobs. I mean, Frost can still be good, and I think it could be good in some dungeons, for sure. But I don't know. Looking at these numbers, that's a pretty big difference. And if you guys want to see something really insane, Arcane is doing 60,000 more damage on 5 targets than Fire, which is pretty gnarly. Not gonna lie, that is very, very, very big difference. 20% more, like, and then obviously Frost is like 20% behind Fire. So I really think it's gonna come down to Fire and Arcane. So I drew up a little graph. It's very crude, but essentially Arcane is soft target capped at 5 because that's as much as your Arcane Barrage goes to. Like with I think it's Arcane Cleave is the name of the talent. So I did a little bit of a graph to kind of show you, but essentially I think like looking at the sims alone doesn't show this. Like, because I think it obviously this is kind of guessing and feely craft, but because of like the way Living Bomb works and the fact that Fire isn't target capped where Arcane is, like soft target cap, yeah, but you see like Arcane is gonna like trail off when it gets to a certain mob percentage, whereas like Frost and Fire are gonna like keep going up, right? So that's pretty good for Fire. I personally love Fire. I think it's really fun to play. So I'm definitely going to be trying it out when it's on live. Same with Arcane, but maybe Arcane is just like too far ahead of Fire to play it at the highest level. But honestly, we'll see. I just wanted to sort of show that. So this is the comet. Sorry, this is the Meteor build. So basically you just drop Inflame, which is the build I showed in the previous video, for Meteor. And that's quite nice. To be honest, I've just kind of been playing it like... so basically Flame Strike, and then I just Meteor. Oh, that's wrong. Like, it's like in my combustion. So like right now, if Meteor's like not close, whereas like, see, I'm not close to my SKB or anything. I just send Meteor, and that's kind of like how I imagine playing it. And then as soon as you get like a crit, you just want to proc it. It's kind of a little bit unfortunate because of the way the proc munching works. Like you can't queue up your Flame Strike at the moment. But yeah, like, so this is essentially how you play this. It's literally just Flame Strike spam if you're doing more than 3 targets. So it's actually not too bad. Like, it's quite easy to play now, and you don't have to worry about Rune of Power, like, at all. Like, in your combustion window, it's, like, kind of insane how much, mobility you're going to have. Okay, that drops. That's unfortunate. You want to keep your scene alive. You want to keep the mastery up as best you can. But that's what it's going to look like, and I forgot to Meteor there. But that's essentially what your AoE rotation will look like, and your single target rotation will be the same. And that's like pretty much it, like in terms of fire and stuff. Obviously it's really nice playing with Phoenix Reborn. I think it's really, really nice. Mass Barrier, I think, is just going to be so strong throughout the course of an entire key. But like, I just want to go through like, because sims and numbers are one thing, but I just wanted to like go through some strengths and weaknesses as well. Like, fire is very mobile. It doesn't have a mob count. Like, it essentially can scale infinitely. And it's got a cheat death built in, which is like really, really good. Like, really good. I don't know how many times I've died, had no idea why, and just thanks to Cauterize, like, I just continue on. And it's great. Like, so playing without it obviously can be a bit worse. Like, you know, it's harder, right? You can't rely on that. You don't really have a save. But I mean, one of the weaknesses with like Fire and Frost now, well, Frost has this weakness already, but Fire now, with the change, is that if mobs get moved a lot, they're being pulled out of your flame patch, which is like a significant portion of your damage. So on weeks like Sanguine or or like say a tank has to kite, like with the DH meta, well, DH tanks being meta, right? They generally move a lot more, so that's gonna like hurt your damage, right? Which is always something to keep in mind. Like, sims are very much like in a perfect world, whereas you don't always get that in reality. Like, I don't know if anybody's played like Frost on Sanguine, but you know, it can be a bit of like grief to your team because slowing all the mobs by 70% is like pretty rough, right? Like, especially throughout a whole key. Like, if you don't have any knocks, that's it hurts, right? But like Frost strength, you know, it like that slow is a strength. Like, it is a strength overall. Like, being able to kite and slow mobs like does help. It has 2 ice blocks. That's really good. And it's got really strong 2 target now. Like, I imagine Glacial Spike on Brackenhide last spot is boss is going to be insane. You know, but like Frost is kind of like hurt by the fact that you do a lot less damage when mobs aren't freezable. That's a bit unfortunate, but I mean it's just kind of how like Frost is. But I think Frost like overall is going to be in a much better spot than it was previously. Like it's just going to have a lot more damage and it's a lot burstier now, which is going to be really nice. Arcane, I feel like the strengths of Arcane is it's very bursty. It's gonna have the burstiest damage profile out of mages. It's got prismatic barrier. So prismatic barrier and mass barrier, I feel like are gonna be or can be very strong in keys, which will be really nice. It also like I tested this before, but it doesn't stack. You can't like cast barrier on yourself like this and then cast mass barrier. It doesn't, you don't get 2 barriers then. It's a little bit unfortunate. It just refreshes the duration of your other barrier. But like a good example is like due to the interaction of energized barriers, if you think about like the dragons, you can essentially just dispel everybody. So the dragons on Halls of Infusion, you know, they do that big cast and normally a Shadow Priest mass dispels. Well, essentially you can just press mass barrier as well after the damage goes out and it'll dispel everyone as well, which is nice. Or you can just barrier beforehand if you have a Shadow Priest and everybody takes a lot less damage, which is very nice. And this will function the same in like places like Alderman. Last boss, right? You need to dispel the dots. Normally you can use barrier to dispel it, but you can just mass barrier the whole group, and it also stays for the 1 minute. So the mass barrier stays for 1 minute on friendly targets too. So like if you were to do that, it would be really nice because, you know, next time the Whim Buffet comes out, it's going to mitigate a lot of damage, and that's really good. I mean, overall, I just think Mage is in a good spot. Like, as long as tuning's there, like, I think they will probably do something, or I imagine they'll do something about the difference in damage between Arcane, Fire, and Frost. Like, a bit of tuning could really, will make the specs very competitive with each other. And what to play, and maybe it even comes down to preference. You know, for the most part, which would be amazing, right? Being able to play any spec you want just because of preference, and it being so close, let's say, not just like you're just not playing it for fun, but it being so close with the other specs would just be really cool. And I mean, class balance in general, I feel like has been really good in Dragonflight. I feel like it's been a lot better. And yeah, so I guess the worst thing I do want to talk about is like Fire's damage profile before was really strong. Like all your single target damage was also your AoE. Like that was crazy strong. Just being able to priority focus whatever mob you wanted and it just do infinite AoE essentially. Well, not infinite, but do really good AoE was really strong. So losing that does suck for Fire. And I think Arcane is probably going to be the best at priority damage and funnel now, like, because you're essentially just being able to prio one mob funnel, and like you saw it last week where you just, or last video, sorry, where you just tunnel, you just spamming Arcane Barrage because it all procs, and it feels really fun to play. But I know myself, I am going to ninja pull so many mobs playing Arcane with Orb Barrage, because it's like a 30 or 40 yard range for the Orb Barrage that shoots at. So definitely going to have to be aware of that when you're playing in melee as well, like where it's going to go. So I'm probably going to brick a few keys like that, which is a bit rough. But yeah, that's basically everything I wanted to talk about. I think Mage is looking really nice. I like the utility changes as well, like being able to pick up displacement time manipulation is really good because like clear casting for Arcane, Fire Blast in Fire, basically it reduces your Dragon's Breath cooldown, which is really nice. So it's like if you're getting a lot of CC procs after you've used um after you've used Dragon's Breath, like a clear casting procs or Fire Blast, like it reduces the cooldown. So hey, maybe you even get to use it twice a pack if you use it early on. That's really nice. But yeah, like this point is obviously better now because it's 30 seconds reduced on Ice Block. Like I feel like this is going to be a nice talent if you wanted to play this with on something like Arcane where you've only got one block and you don't have a cheat death. Maybe you put some points in there when you don't, if you don't need your curse or your spell steal, your decurse, your spell steal. That would be really nice. And just being able to get displacement, like to be able to actually heal yourself more as mage with diverted energy and displacement now is like really nice. Like you think of like the third boss on Halls of Infusion, like I feel like as a mage personally, you're just like on the brink of death and at the mercy of your healer the whole time. But you know, with mass barrier, displacement, diverted energy, I feel like that's really nice. Like they're giving you some buttons to like help out, right? Like whenever it does the big AoE like circles like Kurog, you can like press these buttons to like help your healer when you know they have to move it. And I just think it's gonna be really nice. And I just think like in general, I feel like people's damage is gonna go up no matter what spec they played as mage because Rune of Power just could really screw you over sometimes, or just like not even if you're playing it well, just like you get a mechanic and it's just like, oh, well that sucks. You know, like a good one is the harpoons in Freehold. Like you literally just throw down your Rune of Power and then you're just yoinked away from it. You know, it cancels your hardcast pyro and you know, and it's just sad. And if you somehow manage to live, which is great, you've got to run all the way back to your little pyro and sorry, your Rune of Power, and that's it. But I won't talk anymore. I mean, this video's turned out longer than I already was planning on it, but you know, I just wanted to like share a bit more, and I'll make sure to link Toegrinder's YouTube and um, the mage-hub website in the description. But thank you for watching. If you've watched all the way for the end, I do appreciate it.